Hey YouTube, it's Lauren again. I just wanted to make this video as a follow-up to my last video. At that time, I was discussing just beginning birth control and then preparing to have my hysteroscopy and yeah, so, oh, and the setup class. So those are the things I'm going to talk about today. So first things first, just FYI, I feel like I always look like a train wreck when I do my videos, but I did have my hysteroscopy today, so I'm not feeling sick, but I did get a little bit of a migraine. So I have an ice pack on my neck and I am just chilling at home. So I apologize for my appearance and for always kind of looking like a train wreck, but infertility, man. The process, it's brutal sometimes. So to start off, I'm going to start off with my setup class. So we had the setup class last Tuesday morning. It lasted about 2 hours. We have now received all of our medications because we also received all our injectable medications that same day. And we now have basically learned how to do all of the medicine and which ones are intramuscular and which ones are subcutaneous, which is in your skin. So there are differences. There's only 2 injections that go intramuscular. I can't remember what they are right now. I know one of them is progesterone. I think the other one is Menopur, but I'm going to have to check on that. So we have all those meds. Only one of them needed to be refrigerated. The rest of them are kept at room temperature in my little box of meds. So I also received my sharps container, all my syringes, and a ton of alcohol wipes and gauze pads from the pharmacy as well. So those were free of charge. So that was pretty cool. So yeah, the setup class was a tad bit overwhelming, but I'm really happy that we went because it was super informational. There were 3 other couples in the class with us, or 2. Oh, 3. Yeah, there were 3 other couples. One of the other couples in the class was also doing a fresh transfer and was on the same regimen as me, so we kind of were chatting and talking about it, and so yeah, it kind of was like a nice way to meet some of the other people that are going to be doing their stuff around the same time as me and the same cycle and everything. So yeah, and we all kind of got to learn and ask questions together. So I think I'm going to be okay with most of the injections. The only one that worries me a little bit is my Menopur, and that is because the way that it has to be prepared. So with Menopur, it has to be mixed. It starts as like a powder, and then it has to be mixed with a saline, I forget what they call it, but it's basically just saline mixture that you mix it up at the time of use. And because I'm doing 150 units, Menopur comes in 75 unit vials, so that means I have to use 2 of the powders when I do it. So it's a little bit stressful, like, because you're drawing up the saline, then you're taking it and screwing it onto the Menopur, and you're injecting the saline into the Menopur vial, and then it automatically dissolves, and then you have to redraw it back up, and then you pop it onto the next vial of Menopur and mix it all into that vial. And then finally, when it's all dissolved and mixed, then you draw that up, and then you switch the needle and you put on the needle that you're going to actually use for injecting. So it's a lot of steps. I'm sure like the first and second day I'm going to be like freaking out about it, but I'm sure after the first few days I'll be like, piece of cake. But yeah, for the most part, I'm pretty sure everyone does Menopur. Just depends on what dose they're on. So yeah, so it'll be a learning experience, that's for sure. So we'll see how that goes. So that was a setup class. It was a great class. It was super informational. And we just got to learn about all the different meds, what the side effects are, um, what we can and can't do with certain, after a certain day, like my poor husband, it's like 4 to 5 weeks of abstinence, basically, as far as actual sexual intercourse. But there can be other things. But you know, who's gonna who knows how I'll feel and what's gonna happen at that time. So we'll see how that all goes down. Second, okay, so I'm almost done with birth control. I have 3 days left, and then I'm done with birth control. Thank God, because this birth control is rough. Like, I don't know if anyone else feels like this on birth control, but this is one of the main reasons I stopped taking birth control. I get a ton of migraines on birth control, and they're like migraines that like just make you really nauseous and just you can't function. It's not like a normal headache. It's terrible. Hence I have an ice pack on my neck, which is somewhat helping, but I also feel like it's from the anesthesia and just like laying around all day. So I'm really happy to be almost done with this birth control, I'm going to tell you. And then I'll have my hopefully last final period for the next 9 months, I hope. So should start my period around this Friday, maybe this Saturday at the latest, probably, because I stopped my birth control on Wednesday this week, I believe. Yeah, because I'm taking it tonight, Tuesday, and then Wednesday. So that's a good thing. I'm glad to be almost done with that. And then, what else? Okay, so I did the cetrotide last night. So today was my hysteroscopy. The hysteroscopy itself went great. It felt like it was 2 seconds long because I was under anesthesia or sedation. And I woke up groggy, but I felt pretty good. I was a tiny bit queasy when I first woke up, but that only lasted for like the first 5 minutes because I was a little bit dizzy. But I felt okay. So the cytotech, that's the insert that you have to do vaginally before you do the hysteroscopy. So cytotech is basically just to, it's used to help dilate the cervix the day of the hysteroscopy, and it's supposed to basically like soften not the uterus, the cervix, so that it's easier for them to dilate and get through and check everything out. So, last night at about 5:30, I was instructed to start taking Advil, 600 milligrams, or ibuprofen, whatever. So I did that. I took 600 milligrams of ibuprofen with food, and then a half an hour after, I did my cytotech insert into my vagina. So with that, you have to like wet your fingertips a little bit, and you moisten the tablet like that, and then you can kind of feel it starts to get a little like chalky almost. And then instructions are just to insert it as close to your cervix as you can get it, which is about a finger length up into the vagina. So it was super easy to do. I just made sure I washed my hands really well first, and then I moistened my fingertip with the water, wetted it, and then I stuck it up with my middle finger and just tried to get it as close as I could to my cervix. I was expecting to be in like excruciating pain, because a lot of things I've read have said that people like had really, really bad pain with it. Even some people had like the chills and like felt like they needed to go to the hospital. And so I was like kind of freaked out. So I had my bed all set up. I had my heating pad ready to go. I had like all my meds and like my ginger ale and like everything just ready in case I didn't feel good. And I laid up here for about 2 hours afterwards, and I still wasn't really feeling much. I was kind of worried that I did it wrong. but I wasn't really feeling much. And then around the 4th hour after I inserted it is when I started feeling the cramping. But it wasn't excruciating. It was just kind of like a dull period cramp. There were times when it was a little bit more of an intense cramp, but for the most part, it was pretty just dull. It didn't really bother me too much. I just kept my heating pad on the whole night, or the whole like evening until I went to sleep, and then I took it off. And I couldn't have any food after midnight, so I did make sure to, continue taking the ibuprofen, just to keep the pain at bay so that I could get some sleep because I didn't want to be totally exhausted for my procedure today. So I did like keep some crackers and some other stuff, and my husband did make me something to eat around 8:30 last night, to take my birth control, my antibiotic, and my ibuprofen. So I feel like I managed it pretty well, and I guess it did what it was supposed to do, because the doctor today said that the procedure went great. It was only like about 15 minutes. I did have some spotting afterwards, but I felt pretty good for the most part. I had a little bit of cramping, but nothing severe. They said my uterus looks really good. They didn't find any fibroids or any cysts in my uterus, and they did check both of my fallopian tubes, the openings that go towards the uterus, and they did say that they were open and clear. Obviously, you can't see the whole tube from just the uterus, but you can certainly see like the opening from the tube. So I was really happy that they went and did that, and it made me feel better, like with my history of ectopic pregnancy, that I do still have good tubes with an opening, and it's not like crazy or something's totally wrong there. So I also know that they took a biopsy of my uterine wall or lining. They send it for culturing, I guess, to rule out any types of infection, just because that could it could limit the success of the IVF transfer, the embryo transfer afterwards, if there is some kind of infection. So they said that they should get the results from that in about 10 days, and if they're okay, they said that nothing needs to be done. Otherwise, if they do find any type of infection, then they will have me start a different antibiotic to clear that up before the embryo transfer, which is going to be around early April. So, what else? So yeah, as far as how I felt, so they got me set up for my hysteroscopy. We got in there around 8:45, and I was taken back into the operating room around 9:30. They have you, in a gown, so you take off your bra, your underwear, everything. And then they make you empty your bladder, and then you go in the operating room, and they'll have you get on a table, similar to like when you go to the gynecologist. There's always the stirrups and everything. They were pretty comfortable, actually, though, like way more comfortable than those metal foot things. They had you scoot your butt all the way down, and it's freezing in there, so they do give you a blanket to cover up with. Have you scoot all the way down, and then they have you prop your legs up. I did have an IV placed. Oh, my arm is still a little bit sore from it, but so you can probably see right here is where I had the IV placed. She did a pretty good job. I mean, it didn't feel good, but like as far as IVs go, I think she did a pretty good job. I didn't have a lot of pain. They just had me on like an IV fluid drip for half an hour before the surgery. And then during the surgery, they did propofol, and I think they gave me Zofran as well, just for like an antiemetic before as well. So all I remember is once I got positioned comfortably on the table, they were all kind of talking. The nurse anesthetist said that he was going to give me some sleepy medicine, and I was like, okay. So he said, you're going to start to feel it in your arm. You might taste something funny in your mouth. And then a few seconds after that, I got really dizzy. And I remember saying, oh, I'm really dizzy. And the next second, I was out. 100% because I don't remember anything. He's probably like, yeah, you're dizzy. You'll be asleep in a second. So, but yeah, that's the one thing I hate about anesthesia is I always do get kind of dizzy, um, right when I get put out, and then again when I'm waking up. And I hate being dizzy. I really hate it. It's just one of those sensations that I'm like, you just kind of feel like you don't have any control over, and you just like waiting for it to pass, you know? So, but the dizziness before the operation was very minimal. I mean, it was pretty strong, but I was only awake for 2 seconds of that. And then when I woke up, I was already back in the recovery room. It felt like it had only been 2 minutes, and I was groggy, and I just had to be careful I didn't turn my head too quick to the side, or else I'd get dizzy. But other than that, I felt pretty good. Took me about maybe another 15 to 20 minutes to kind of like fully wake up. And I sipped some apple juice while I was there, and like my mom was in the room with me, so she was talking to me and asking me questions and stuff. And then the doctor came in and showed me the pictures of my uterus and my fallopian tubes and everything. He said everything went well and perfect. Everything looks ready for egg retrieval and transfer. And so it was all good news. So basically, just like everything, there's nothing wrong with me. But yeah, I still can't get pregnant on my own. So this is unexplained infertility. It's like test after test after test after test, and there's still no reason. So that was that. So, I have no other appointments for this week, which I'm happy about. I really wish I would have taken tomorrow off of work too, with just how I'm feeling right now. Because I took the whole day off today, but I really should have just taken tomorrow off too, because I have a pretty physical job, and unless I'm feeling a lot better tomorrow, and not like as bloated and crampy, then I'm not gonna have a fun day at work. So, lesson learned, take time for your body. If you are, going under anesthesia, give yourself a couple days to like recoup, before you go out, do a bunch of crazy stuff. They told me I can't shower today because of the procedure. I don't really know why that is. I mean, I'm not gonna I would never wash that down there and spread bacteria all around, but I guess I get what they're saying. So yeah, I'm not gonna shower tonight, I guess. I'm just gonna wait until the morning, which means I have to get up even earlier, but I'm gonna try to go to bed early tonight. So, because I have to be to work at 8:30 in the morning. So yeah, I always normally shower at night before I go to bed. It also just helps me sleep better, so I just like to do it better at night. But yeah, so as far as that goes, we are almost done with birth control. Thank God. Hopefully the results of the hysteroscopy culture come back okay. And then as far as next steps, the next thing that's left to do is next Monday I have so a week from today I have my baseline ultrasound and blood work, because I should be starting my period this weekend. And then after that, it's bam, you start the meds. So I should be starting the meds that same day, as long as my baseline blood work and my ultrasound looks okay. So I'm going to be doing gonal F, or gonal. Everyone pronounces it different. But I'm going to be doing gonal F and Menopur for 10 days total. But I'll be doing them for 5 days on their own. So that will be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then on Friday that week, I will also have some monitoring to see if I need to up my dosages, or if I can start my cetrotide, which is basically the one that prevents you from ovulating. So we'll kind of know more after that. And then the following week is literally my egg retrieval. I can't believe it. It's crazy because you wait so long to do something like this, but then the process happens so fast, and I am feeling scared, but I'm also excited. So we'll see what happens. I have a little cold right now, so I'm just really hoping that this week I'll recover fully from this cold, and I won't have to worry about being sick during my egg retrieval or my transfer. But I am taking a lot of time off work for my egg retrieval and for my transfer to give my body like time to just like after all this. So I guess the next thing I'll do is just update you guys on my baseline. I might take some videos of me doing my gonal F and my menopur. The menopur's in my butt, I believe. So maybe not. But I'll definitely show the gonal F. I got the inject ready pens, so I'll that will be a learning experience as well. So I'll have another video on that, and I'll try to kind of keep you guys updated as much as I can if anyone cares to see. And if you have any questions, please leave a comment down below and I'll be happy to answer them. And for anyone else going through this, you're not alone. Keep up the good work and it will be worth it in the long run, and we'll all get our rainbow babies. Have a good week, guys.